Hello, my name is Julie, and it's finally time for Friendathon Round 3. So if you missed my announcement video or my post on Instagram, Friendathon is a readathon that I've run for the last 3 years. It is about reading based on your friend's taste. You pair up or get a group of friends together and read based on things that they like. There are 7 prompts and 10 days, trying to read 7 books in 10 days over 2 weekends and a week. So my friends are Katie and Imogen, who are 2 of my mutuals on Instagram. We do have a lot of overlapping taste, and these are the people that I'm contacting the most on Instagram, gushing about books all the time, and I'm so happy to be reading with them. It's going to be so much fun, and I am so happy for all of their input that they've had. So I'm going to very quickly run through my TBR if you haven't seen it in other places, and we will get straight into reading. The first prompt is to read a book from a genre that they read more than you, and I'm going to be reading Icebreaker by Hannah Grace because Katie reads more romance than I do. This is about a figure skater and a hockey player. Something happens to her figure skating partner. He has to step in. It's sort of enemies to lovers type thing. I'm so excited for this. Then the second prompt is for them to pick a book off of your TBR veterans for you to finally read, and Katie picked The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is a book that I have owned for so long. This is a YA fantasy, maybe horror, that is about 1920s New York. There is a paranormal serial killer, and there are people who have small powers called diviners. This used to be a big one on BookTube back in the day, so I'm finally getting to it. Then prompt 3 is for you to read a book that has a character trope or archetype that they love. So for this, based on Imogen, I am going to be reading The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. This has a heist group in it and also found family, which is 2 tropes that she really loves. I don't know a whole lot about it except found family, and it is Paris in the 1800s and there's a heist. And it's at the beginning of a series. Prompt number 4 is to read from an author that they own at least 3 books from, and I picked Frederick Bachman, A Man Called Ove, because Katie owns a ton of his books, loves all of his books, and I adored Beartown, so I was very lucky to pick up this very good copy secondhand. This is about a grumpy old man named Ove. This was turned into the movie with Tom Hanks that was called A Man Called Otto. He's grumpy. He's thinking about taking his own life when a family moves in next door that shakes everything up. I don't know if I will laugh or cry. Then prompt number 5 is to read a book that takes place where they live. So for this, I was so proud of how specific I got. The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman, which is the second book in the Thursday Murder Club, it takes place in Kent, which is where Imogen is from. So I am so excited to continue on in this series. Even if I've heard like this is the least favorite of the 3 so far, I still had a good time with the first one, and I'm going to be reading that on ebook. Gilded Wolves is on audio. Prompt number 6 is for them to make a prompt for you. So Imogen gave me one that she didn't realize was going to be so difficult, and it was to read a book with all the letters of your name on the cover. My name is Julie. So I have to get a J and a U, not very common, but I do have a couple books from Julie's and Julia's. So I decided to read Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. This is a 5-star prediction for me. And also, apparently Florence from Florence and the Machine loves this book. Let's fucking go. This is a literary horror about a woman whose wife was in a secret mission on a submarine and she comes back changed. The synopsis is very vague, it's very short. I am very excited. And the last prompt is to buddy read a book. So the 3 of us are going to be reading The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This is a book that we've all had on our TBRs for a while. Not really heard anything about what the book is about, but I know that this has a magic system that has to do with bones. And our main character is the Emperor's daughter, and he doesn't really trust her anymore, and he is not going to be giving the kingdom to her, so she is trying to take down her dad. I am starting 3 series in this vlog, and I am continuing in only 1. I need to get better at this. But let's go to the first day of the readathon. Welcome to day 1 of Friendathon and my brand new apartment. I just moved in a couple of hours ago. We are currently still moving me in. I have just got it to a livable level of stuff everywhere. Done a little bit of the kitchen, done a little bit of the closet. And there's currently a thunderstorm going on, so the only chance I have to talk to you is going to be during the thunderstorm tonight. Here is our process of moving. There's moving everything into the apartment that we had to bring, and then starting to put stuff in place, which we'll see how this goes. I think it's just going to be a long process over this vlog of me getting my feet under me before I start my job in a couple weeks. So I will not have started my job by the time Friendathon ends, but hopefully my apartment is done. Oh my god, that was right by me. I could literally see the touchdown like right in front of me. I started off the readathon with the Diviners, which is for the TBR veteran prompt. I have had this probably since about the time it came out, as you can tell by the copy I have. And I like soft DNF'd it a couple of times where it just like wasn't picking up my interest. But I started reading it physically, and then I picked up the audiobook because I've been moving and had to do so much physical work, and it is definitely the way to go. If I have any time to physically read, I think I will just continue with this to knock it out, just because I have all of my books packed up still. I'm going to unpack them tomorrow. I only have my TBR cart. I'm going to get a bookshelf soon. And I'm actually really enjoying it. I am 50% of the way in. I started at page like 150 and I'm around page 300 right now, and I'm definitely really liking it. So our main character is Evie, who is a teenage girl in the 1920s, wants to be a flapper and all that. She's in Ohio, and she essentially gets sent off to live in New York with her uncle because she caused some drama. So she is living it up in New York, but she has a secret that is why she got in trouble, and is that she has the power that when she holds objects, she can often tell the history of whoever owns the object, and she has never told anybody about this. Her uncle runs an occult museum, and he is employed by the police to investigate a murder that seems to have connections to the occult. Evie gets dragged into these doomsday type murders. Meanwhile, there are these threatening things that are happening all over the city, and there seems to be a summoning for people who are diviners, who have these abilities. And we follow a couple different perspectives. Sometimes we float between people, which I'm really liking. Liva Bray actually narrates this audiobook, which I think is super cool. So I am really enjoying this so far, and I'm so happy that I decided to do the audiobook. I don't have any internet yet. I think that's possibly a job for tomorrow to get that all set up. I might edit a video. I might just play my cozy video games because I am dead tired. Also, it's Speak Now Day. I listened to the first like half of it in the car, and I haven't had a time to sit down with it, but like, it's great. The Dear John guitar, I really like a lot. You can really tell her voice is more mature and seasoned, but sometimes the voice isn't as emotional as I remember it being, which is a little sad. Don't know how to feel about the change of lyrics in Better Than Revenge because I love that original line, but I do think the new line's really good as well. Listening to Never Grow Up usually makes me feel really emotional, but it's different when you are literally moving into your first adult apartment, the furthest you have ever been living from home, just like in the song. I'm gonna have my first night in my first adult apartment, open a bottle of wine, and let's get through some Friendathon books. Hello! It is Friendathon Day 2, and I woke up at a reasonable time, and I have a bed now. Let's go! I am so happy to not be sleeping on the floor. Got the bed installed. I now have internet. I also did most of the organization of my closet and basically all of the organization of my bathroom. So now we have the bedroom left, which all of this is just miscellaneous. Just things that'll need to be put on like shelving I don't really have right now. The living area, I have a table to make with my dad when he comes by, and all of my books that I have packed right here. The TBR books are gonna go on the TBR cart, And then I need to get a bookshelf for the stuff that I have read. And I don't even have all of the books that I want to have here yet, but we'll figure it out. So I got to 85% of the Diviners last night, and I am enjoying this so much more than I did previously. I think it is the audiobook making it so much more of an experience that I'm enjoying. First of all, I don't know if it ever bothers anybody else, but like the font in this book is not the best. It's like stylized enough that it's kind of distracting when I'm reading it in this edition, even though, I mean, this is one of the most gorgeous naked hardcovers that I own. Libba Bray is doing such a fantastic job narrating the audiobook. There's so many accents, so much like 20s slang that she's using, and I think that's making it more digestible to have it actually said rather than reading it, because I do believe that is something that bothered me the first time I was reading it. I'm really loving the horror elements of this. There's a paranormal serial killer going around New York, having all these connected killings. We're seeing all the murders take place, even if the characters aren't, and I really love all of the language that is used around it. It is very creepy, but it isn't so horror that like people who aren't horror fans wouldn't like it. And I think all the characters are super fun. There's a wide cast of personalities and backstories that I'm really loving them interact with each other. Even if like the people who I thought were going to get together didn't originally happen, I do really like one of like the side character couples quite a bit. So today, after doing a lot more work on the apartment, I'm gonna finish this. I'm very excited. Currently at my personal hell, the home improvement store. We've done a lot this afternoon. I made this table with my dad. I wanted it to be like an island here, and I'm not sure if it's just gonna be too wide. I'll try it both in this area, maybe against the wall, or in there, but we'll just see what feels more comfortable. We tried to get the washer dryer stuff fixed, that didn't happen. We went for food, made the bed. Yay, I can actually sleep here, and started doing book organization. So starting off, we have monthly TBR is gonna be here for right now before I have shelves. So all the books that I have to read this month are on this side. And then once I read them, I wanna move them to the other side. So these top two shelves are books that I've read this year. We have fantasy and we have contemporary or realistic fiction. And then at the bottom, we have random favorites that I've brought with me. And then we have the TBR cart. The top shelf is all books that I have acquired in 2023. And the bottom two shelves, with a couple of exceptions, are books that I have acquired before then. All of these are paperbacks, and then we have big print stuff. And I kind of rainbow sorted these, and these are kind of sorted by when I got them. And then the lonely secondhand book box, books that didn't make it on the TBR cart or the other TBR shelf. But now it is time to relax. I'll make myself some dinner, might just have a salad, and finish the Diviners. I need to chill out after today. I finished the Diviners. I finished the last, 50 pages or so physically, which was not a drag at all because it was just the end of the story. So what did I think? Man, this was a surprise high rating for me. This is gonna be in the realm of a 4-star. I really love the cast of characters and how they interact with each other. I feel like we have a lot of personalities going on. Honestly, the part of them being diviners isn't even like a large part of the story yet. I love Memphis. He's one of my favorite characters. He's Black. He's living in Harlem with his aunt and his younger brother. He used to be a healer, but his powers aren't there anymore. I really like the relationship that he's in. I think Evie is a very Emma Woodhouse type character that I really liked. Honestly, if she was inspired by Emma Woodhouse, I would be not surprised at all. And the relationship that she got into really surprised me. Now that I think about it, it has to be Emma with the relationship. It's Emma. I really liked the writing style. I think it was just like a really good paranormal horror, which is like not usually the type of horror that I'm into, but I think it just rode the line between so many different types of horror that I liked. This easily could have been a standalone, but there are a lot of interesting threads that were like set up throughout the book that are being led up to being paid off in the future that I'm really interested in continuing, even though like I have heard nothing about the rest of the series at all. Now I'm going to pour myself a glass of wine and I'm gonna have my favorite little snack. This is a spanakopita. It's like spinach and cheese that I got myself as a kind of like little celebration for moving in. I still have a lot to do, but I'm at a place where I walk into the room and I'm no longer stressed. So now I just need to decide what I'm gonna read next. I might try to read a little bit of our buddy read, Bone Shard Daughter, every day. I might do a try chapter, I might do a poll on my Instagram. I might do that. Hey, it's day 3 of Friendathon. So in terms of life stuff today, the only thing that I necessarily 100% have to do is go to the grocery store. And I'm thinking of making some burrata pasta because I'm trendy. Maybe there's some stuff that I can like put away I don't need right now. As far as YouTube goes, I 100% need to edit a video today. I have this video in progress, I have a different video in progress, and I have 2 videos fully done, ready for me to edit, and they need to go up soon. I have my June wrap up and my mid-year stats / spreadsheet tour. And let's talk books. So I just did the math. It's day 3, so there are 8 days of the readathon left, including today. I added up all the pages that I need to read by the end of the readathon, minus the audiobook because that's like a different thing. And I have 1,802 pages to read in 8 days. That is 225 pages. That is a little over double what my regular daily goal is, but I don't have anything that I need to do for the rest of the readathon. So it feels okay for me to push myself to try to read it. I am okay with not finishing Bone Shard Daughter within the readathon. I would like to get a good portion of the way, but if I have to sacrifice a book that's not going to get finished, it's going to be this one and continue it by the end of the readathon. But I tried the first chapter of this and I'm really liking it. I didn't know a lot about this book going in. I feel like a lot of fantasy books, sometimes the premises are really vague, but our main character is the only blood heir to the emperor. But 5 years ago, she got some sort of disease that fully wiped her memory. And now her father, since she doesn't remember her childhood, he is probably going to pass the title onto her foster brother. And she's feeling really slighted and confused about her own identity because she doesn't remember things. So I wonder how I'll feel about this amnesia plot. But we already have a pretty active protagonist, which I'm liking. So we'll see how this goes. So last night I FaceTimed my boyfriend and had him kind of choose what my next read was gonna be. And his first pick was Icebreaker. He's an even bigger hockey fan than I am. He knows so much more about hockey than I do, and he is my main news source for the NHL. I did read the first chapter last night to try to give it a taste, and I'm a little hesitant. There are a lot of paragraphs, like breaks. Like the paragraphs are really short and they don't necessarily need to be broken up like that. And I don't know why I even noticed that. I don't know how much of the humor is going to land for me. And it's kind of on that line where I'm like, do I think this is funny or do I think it's a little bit cringe? I really want one of these TikTok romances to work for me. So I am going to give this 100% my best shot. So if I have to read 225 pages today to be on track, I need to get a little bit over halfway through Icebreaker, which I think is totally possible. Maybe I'll even go to the pool. So I'm going to edit my June wrap up and I will talk to you in a minute. not even 100 pages in, and there's been a very spicy scene. And I liked it. Not sure about the rest of the book, but that scene was great. Okay, remember when I said I liked this? And now they're at a Halloween party and he's dressed as Gru from Despicable Me, and they're still gonna go for it in the bathroom, and I can't. Not in good faith, I cannot. So I'm going to be getting ready for bed. I'm gonna read a little bit more before bed, but I am 260 pages into Icebreaker, so I have passed my daily goal. Who plotted this book? It's like it's happening in the wrong order. There's like, they meet and then they immediately hook up a million bajillion times and then nothing for like 100 pages. Like I said, the plotting just doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense. This also is definitely not a rom-com, it's just a romance. It's not, there's not really a com, I don't know. I'm at least getting through it very quickly. Hello, it is the evening of day 4 of the readathon. It's Monday, and I finally finished Icebreaker. Ooh boy, the more this book went on, the less I liked it. I literally did this with the book. First off, the synopsis of this book is misleading. It's not about them being paired figure skaters together, even though he's a hockey player. It's not about like all of this stuff. Also, she calls herself a fluffy comfort book author, and I really, fluffy, this is not fluff. This isn't fluff. Our characters can get quite annoying. Anastasia's super bratty, and Nathan, he was pitched as like this golden retriever guy, but he's just sort of alpha male, like super protective of everyone type deal, and it's so not great. Look, you're in it for the spicy scenes, right? But the spicy scenes are paced throughout this so strangely. It was just a lot. Like, this book did not need to be this long. A couple of good things. I think the representation of therapy was great. I like that we have a wheelchair user, college student who's still, like, everyone loves him. He has a girlfriend and everything. I liked a couple of the side characters. Although it was the most frustrating part of the plot, I do think it was interesting. I do kind of like the representation of like a friend being toxic sort of thing, because that is something that we kind of overlook. But that plot was so fucking annoying. Oh my god. Like, this wasn't so bad that I would DNF it, but this is like a 2-star. That's not to mention the epilogue. No, not it. I also didn't love that they weren't really practicing safe sex, but like, whatever. I barely ever pick up books like this. I was interested in it because he's a hockey player. I love hockey. I've been trying to find my taste in romance, and this is just the type of recommendation that I'm not going to be trusting anymore. This just feels like it was not edited. It was so long. There were so many like little pieces of things that were inserted that like didn't need to be there, scenes that didn't need to be there. This needed an editor for like structure of like paragraphs, but also an editor for like story structure. This did not need that. And not only that, it fucking references my favorite romance book of all time, The Kiss Quotient. And I'm like, how dare you stand where he stood? How fucking yeah, that's how that went, and I'm upset about it. But that just means we can move on to a book that I'm gonna like more than that one. I'm literally giving myself a headache. I can tell you what I've done today. I got some good freaking sleep. I got a call from my boss for my job that's starting next week, and got all the information that I need for my first day about how I'm gonna need to like go in ahead of time and get like a parking pass, and it's all gonna be very complicated. I posted on Instagram, I posted my wrap up on YouTube. I also watched the first episode of Claim to Fame for some reason. I don't know why I did that. But now I have to pick which book I'm going to read next. Again, I kind of want to leave this for the last book that I read because it's the biggest that I have left. A book club that I'm in, the Sad 20-somethings book club, is reading this month, so I could pick that up now. It's also the shortest of the books that I'm reading, and it's a 5-star prediction, and I'm reading it for a vlog. I think maybe I'll try a chapter of both of these and see what I'm feeling. These are my 2 shortest books that I have for the readathon, so I can just get through some prompts. I think I'm going to edit my spreadsheet video now, have some dinner, get some reading in. Welcome to day 5. I have my main character energy, cute little cup going on. Yes, I'm still in my pajamas. I actually finally used the clubhouse the other day, and they have the world's biggest coffee machine. I swear to God, it's as big as an oven, and I got myself a mocha, so not too much caffeine, because that will do terrible things to me. And they have caramel syrup, so I get to check off drinking Imogen's reading drink. One of hers was a caramel coffee, so this is also like my go-to coffee of choice, so I'm very happy with that. So last night before I went to bed, I did read 100 pages of Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. It took me a while to like stay glued to the page, and I think part of that has to do with this is like one of those paperbacks that is really closely bound, so I'm like reading it like this because I don't break spines. I know some people do, there's a lot of non-readers do as well, but I like to wear out the spine so that like it stays in good condition, so it takes a little bit. The synopsis being vague checks out. Not a lot has happened, even though we're 100 pages in, 40% of the way through the book. Leah and Mary are a married couple, and Leah has been like a marine biologist type person, always doing stuff with the water, and the submarine mission that she was supposed to go on was routine, and it was supposed to be 3 weeks long, but it ended up being 6 months. We see Miri at home being like, what the heck is going on? I'm not getting any information from her workplace. And we also get Leah when the submarine essentially sinks to the bottom of the ocean, but nothing seems to be wrong except they can't control the submarine, they can't get comms up, and they can't stop descending. As Leah's come back, there's like strange things about her skin, she's not herself, she keeps filling up the bathtub, she can't eat, there's a lot of things, and Mary is really concerned that like her wife has not returned at all. This is definitely literary horror. We have sort of an unsettling strangeness, like this would be a little speculative where it's like what's happening with Leah, but it is more Leah returning and not being the same. On the back here, it describes this as romantic multiple times, so I'm really interested to see where this goes because we actually haven't had any plot things happen, which is something that like I'm feeling mad about. Considering this was a 5-star prediction, like right off the bat, I'm not feeling like it's going to be 5 stars, but I am liking it. Again, I don't have any set things that I need to do, but I'm getting a little sick of like the boxes that I have on my desk. I'm going to finally go through some of the boxes that I have been ignoring. Also, it's Amazon Prime Day. No, I'm not using it to buy books because I would buy from, you know, booksellers that aren't destroying the book industry, but I am going to see if I can't get myself like a bookshelf. I really want a ladder bookshelf, and I don't know if that's gonna like limit me in the future with how many books I can actually have here, so we'll see. This is really good. This is really good. Hello vlog, it is now day 6 and I'm going to give you a little bit of my day 5 recap, including I did finish Our Wives Under the Sea. This was not a 5-star like I thought it was going to be. I'm a little sad about that. I probably would say I appreciated it more than I enjoyed it because after reading this book is just a metaphor. This is a book for people who don't need answers. I think it has a strong message in the way of a metaphor, but if you're talking about like the speculative element, there just isn't a lot of answers that you're gonna get. This is one of those books where I immediately went to like Reddit to see what people were saying about it, and nobody had any bigger conclusions than I did about what exactly happened. I didn't necessarily need more of the speculative element to happen, but I definitely needed more plot to happen. That wasn't really the purpose of it, so it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I like literary horror, but I like a little bit more horror. So I'm probably gonna give this like a 3.5. So obviously finished the book, played a little bit of Bear and Breakfast, which is a video game that I've been loving lately. And I have started at this point every single one of my books for the rest of the readathon. I started Gilded Wolves. I'm really curious about it because it has to do with a secret organization called the Tower of Babel that is also magical and has to do with language. And that is the premise of Babel by R.F. Kuang. I know that these are going to be entirely different in tone, but having that same magical element definitely is really intriguing to me. And I think with all these diverse characters, it's also going to have some similar conversations about colonization. I'm really liking that our group of like a very diverse group of teenagers, young adult people are working together to be a heist group, and they already have a dynamic, which I think is interesting. So I'm excited to continue with that, even if there are 2 narrators for this book. There's a female narrator and the male narrator, and the male narrator kind of sucks, but I am excited to continue. I started the first chapter of Bone Shard Daughter back on like day 2, and then I started the first couple chapters of A Man Called Ove like day 4 or something like that. And then yesterday I started The Man Who Died Twice, and I was trying to read as much of that before bed as I could. I only got to like chapter 5 or so before I fell asleep, but I don't know which of these I'm going to read next. Obviously Gilded Wolves I'm going to be reading throughout the readathon, so that one doesn't count. But of these 3, which of them do you think I'm going to start on day 6? Let me know down below, and we'll see if you're right in the next video. So the raw footage of this is already over an hour, so I need to cut this off and go to a new vlog for days 6 through 10, so I will see you then. Let me know how your reading has gone for you lately. What kind of books would you want me to read if I was doing Friendathon with you as my friend? I'd love to know. But thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to follow me anywhere, my link is in the description, including my Instagram, everything that I do. And as always, I will see you in the next one. But this one is gonna be special because it's the second part of this video, so you have to go watch it. You have to.